Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Selamat pagi teman-teman e-grader semua. Terima kasih sudah hadir di acara e-grade pagi ini, yaitu Engineering Jobs in Food Manufacturing. Perkenalkan, saya Aryati, founder dan CEO e-grade.id. Acara ini adalah sharing session yang hanya bisa diikuti oleh anggota komunitas Tribe e-grade.id. Mohon maaf, acara pagi ini tidak memberikan sertifikat, dengan harapan teman-teman semua tahu bahwa ilmu lebih berharga daripada selembar sertifikat. Sekedar info, acara ini akan direkam dan rekaman di awal acara selama narasumber presentasi akan ditayangkan di akun YouTube e-grade. Sementara sesi tanya jawab tidak akan ditayangkan di YouTube karena seringkali narasumber akan berbagi info-info penting yang sebenarnya hanya untuk diketahui oleh kalangan terbatas saja. Kalau teman-teman ada kendala sinyal sewaktu acara tidak bisa aktifkan kamera, tidak apa-apa. Tapi nanti di akhir acara tolong aktifkan kameranya, kita foto bareng ya. Saya akan perkenalkan terlebih dahulu narasumber e-grade pagi ini, Bapak Fardin Utama, lulusan Teknik Sipil Universitas Indonesia, jurusan Teknik Penyihatan tahun 1995, mendapat gelar Master of Industrial Hygiene and Safety Engineering dari West Virginia University tahun 1999. Dari tahun 2020 menjabat sebagai Senior Manager Environmental and Health Safety di Wells Enterprises Incorporated, Lamarche, Iowa, di mana beliau mulai berkarir sejak tahun 2019. Bapak Fadil sudah tinggal di Amerika Serikat selama 26 tahun dan punya pengalaman kerja di Unilever and Kellogg. Acara e-grade pagi ini live from Las Vegas. Kita beda 14 jam, jadi jam 10 pagi di Indonesia bagian Barat hari Minggu tanggal 18 Juli, di Las Vegas hari Sabtu malam tanggal 17 Juli jam 8 malam. Apa kabar Pak Fardin?
Baik, Alhamdulillah Bu.
Alhamdulillah. Gimana cuaca hari ini Pak?
Di sini biasa panas, cuma 115 derajat, atau berapa itu 115 kalau di Celsius, sekitar 40-50 kali ya.
Wow, panas ya. Malam gini panas itu ya?
Yap, karena kita kan di padang pasir di sini.
Oh sih, oke.
Yep.
Oke, teman-teman e-grade sudah nggak sabar nih Pak untuk lihat presentasinya. Jadi silakan diambil alih saja acaranya Pak. Terima kasih.
Ayo, sama-sama. Oke. Nana, bisa dilihat semuanya?
Sudah.
Oke. Saya mohon maaf ya, karena nanti waktu saya presentasi bahasanya campur aduk. Karena bahasa Indonesia saya udah nggak bagus, yang resminya. Sementara bahasa Inggris saya juga masih berantakan. Jadi kalau misalnya kalau nggak jelas, tolong di stop aja. Kasih tahu
kalau tanya langsung aja di chat room teman-teman kalau ada pertanyaan ya.
Langsung ini ya, tolong tolong Pak jangan terlalu cepat gitu ya, kasih tahu aja ya. Oke. Let me share this. Oke. Ini petanya Amerika. Jadi kalau dilihat ini sebenarnya saya itu mulainya dari East ya. Dulu waktu lulus dari Indonesia, dari UI saya terbang ke East, ke West Virginia. Jadi sekolah di West Virginia, ambil master di situ. Kemudian saya turun ke Southeast, saya kerja di Atlanta. Dari Atlanta saya turun ke Florida. Dari Florida saya di Midwest, jadi di Missouri, pertama di Southwest-nya part, kemudian di Southeast. Dari situ saya pindah ke Las Vegas. Sampai sekarang saya masih di Las Vegas. Saya itu, kalau orang sini itu nyebutnya tuh hybrid employee ya. Jadi hybrid employee itu kerjanya bisa di mana-mana. Kalau nggak lagi ditugasin, saya kerja di rumah. Kalau ditugasin, saya berangkat ke pabriknya Wells, karena Wells ada pabrik di mana-mana. Nanti saya kasih tahu di mana. Kantor pusatnya di Iowa. Jadi kalau lihat di atas ini kantor pusatnya di Upper Midwest. Sedikit tentang Wells. Wells Enterprises itu American food company. Jadi probably most of the time, people in Indonesia, they don't really know what is Wells. We are the largest family-owned and managed ice cream manufacturer in the United States. So 50% of the business is we have our own brand. Blue Bunny is one of them. You can see the picture of the Blue Bunny, pretty cute over there. But also at the same time, 50% of the business is we actually making the product for somebody else. So you can come to us and you say, hey, look, can you make a business? Can you make the ice cream for us? We'll make it for them. As a matter of fact, some of the main competitors here in the United States, we actually produce the ice cream for them. We do have several facilities in the United States, one in Henderson, Nevada, one in Dunkirk, New York, one in Lakewood, New Jersey, and 2 of them in Lamars, Iowa. So as a matter of fact, the 2 ice cream facility in Lamars is considered as the world's largest manufacturer of ice cream. So it's pretty big, it's pretty humongous. Okay, let's talk about engineering. Walaupun saya itu insinyur, tapi saya kayaknya nggak kerja di bagian engineering ya. Nanti kalau ada yang mau nanya apa yang saya kerjain, I'll explain more about it. But this is Wells. So Wells is actually have a lot of position for engineers. The one on the green is actually fall under the corporate. So the corporate actually located in Lamars, Iowa. So we do have automation, reliability, refrigeration, project, process, packaging, and then project management. The yellow one is actually located at the site. So each of the site, normally they have one plant engineer. They're not the same with the maintenance department. There are engineers. So they're usually the one who connecting with the corporate when there's a lot of project. So that's the way we built this chart for the engineering department. So I have a lot of slides that actually is focusing about their job description. So it is very difficult for me to translate this to Indonesian. So I'm just gonna try to read this slowly, and then if it's too much, just let me know. So we start with automate. Is it okay?
It's okay, no worries.
Okay. So the automation engineer is talking about automation. So when you're working in the manufacturing, there are manual labors where we're still using a people putting the stuff into the box manually. But the automation engineer is the people that we needed to help us to automate the product. So that's the automation engineer is. So this leadership role works closely with multiple departments to identify needs and establish metrics for operational quality, throughput, and accuracy. So development, integration, implementation, and maintenance of systems that automate process will be the primary function in supporting engineering value streams. So these people is focusing on capital projects, will include innovation. M&A is actually merger and acquisition, process improvement, and shared services. So you will see a lot of terminology related to the process improvement. This position is we prefer to have the Bachelor of Science of Engineering, but sometimes keep in mind, it does not have to have the degree in engineering. If you have the associate degree with the equivalent experience in controls and automation within manufacturing, we also take that. For this position minimum, we need 8 years of experience in automation control engineering within manufacturing. So this is pretty high position. So this is not entry level, unfortunately, because this is a key position for the facility related to the process improvement. The other one, the second one, is we call them reliability engineer. So reliability engineer leads a technical team in the development and operation of data-driven analysis methodologies that provide early detection of asset health to aid in the prevention of premature failure of system, asset, and components. Drive the culture of reliability and precision maintenance to aid in the transformation of mindsets in the facilities maintenance and operational teams. So when you're working in the manufacturing, the reliability is very important because you want to make sure that when you run the product, you run the machine, they are reliable. They're not just going to have a problem. They're not going to stop and you need to fix it. So this is one of the main key job for the reliability engineer. For this position, it requires engineering discipline and or reliability engineering. As a matter of fact, there's a certification that required to apply for this position. You need to be certified for the certified maintenance and reliability professional, which is they call CMRP. So in United States, there are some certification that you have to get it. And normally to get this kind of certification, first you need to have a minimum experience. And after that, you have to take a test. Then when you pass, you will be able to use this certification. And every year you have to maintain that certification. There are so certain credits every year that you have to obtain. Either you're taking a class or you attend the conference or seminar to make sure that certification is still valid. Again, this is pretty, this is not an entry-level position for us. It requires experience between 8 to 10 years in engineering or reliability center knowledge, including predictive tools and the software knowledge. Okay. The next one is refrigeration engineer. I actually work very close to these people because as the environmental health and safety person for the company, one of my responsibility is compliance. So this refrigeration engineer will help me a lot to make sure that the facility is compliant with the OSHA process safety management. So OSHA is actually Occupational Safety, Health, and Administration. They are the one who, this agency is the one who is responsible with the safety and health for people in the United States. Now, ammonia is hazardous chemical. We use that for refrigerant here in the United States in the facility. So the OSHA actually mandated for us to be compliant with the process safety management for this chemical. So again, refrigeration engineer is helping me a lot for the utilities standpoint, for ammonia system, for the condenser, for the boilers. So that's what they do. This position actually does not require any experience. So you can be the entry level. What you need to have is either you have the mechanical or chemical engineering degree. I remember when I used to work at the facility here in Henderson, I had this young man who actually was an intern at the time from school here, the UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He was mechanical engineering student. He started working with us as an intern. And then after that, he graduated and he worked at the plant as the maintenance supervisor. Today, he actually engineering manager for the facility. So it's a good thing. Okay, the next one is project engineer. So project engineer is basically is the engineer that being assigned to project. It could be any kind of project. It could be a project to improve the safety, the quality, the productivity, anything. So when there is a project to improve something, or there's a project to install the new line, this is the people that responsible for. Obviously, it required to have a bachelor's degree in engineering. and it's a minimum 1 year of manufacturing or discipline engineering related experience. So you don't need to have a lot of experience. You can be just like an entry-level position for this one. Process engineer. Okay. In a food manufacturing, there's a lot of process involved. In the ice cream business, you have this process to mix the water, the dairy, all the ingredients together. And after that, you have to pump it through the line and then go to the production floor. And then you put those ice cream over there. So process is very important for us. So process engineer is the one who support in the area of the mechanical engineering, specifically related to raw and pasteurized product processing system. So there's a lot of piping, there's a lot of tank, there's a lot of system that we need to make sure we get it right. Because when you mix this ice cream, you need to make sure everything is good. So this is the process engineer, directly responsible for providing low-level technical support, coordination, installation, and startup support of small process engineering related project assigned to the engineering workshop. This project may utilize in-house or subcontract resources. So with Wells, we have a lot of expertise in-house, but at the same time, we also bring the third-party vendor. So all these engineers, they need to be able to work with the people from inside, but also from the contractor from outside. Now, process engineer require the Bachelor of Science in Mechanical or Chemical Engineering or related 3 or more years of applicable experience. So for this one, it's pretty tricky because there's a lot of people knows about the process, but they're not engineers. These people is highly skilled people, highly demand, and they're very expensive people. And sometimes they have their own consulting business because they make more money by doing this kind of job. So we do aware, sometimes we're looking for the experience. So if you can find somebody with a lot of experience in the process, especially in the ice cream process, and if the person does not have the engineering degree, we don't have a problem with that. We'll take it, okay? Okay, the next one, what we call packaging engineer. So in the ice cream process, again, like I say, it starts with the mix. So the mix is when you mix everything, the dairy, the water, the chocolate, whatever the ingredient that you have. Well, actually, the chocolate is not there yet. And when you're done, you send that ice cream mix into the production floor. And then you have all this equipment where you start with the filler, where you fill the ice cream. And then after that, you put all this thing to wrap the ice cream. Then after that, you put everything into the box. So the packaging engineer is about these boxes. Because remember, when you make all these different ice creams, they come with the different boxes, different style, different color, different quality. So the packaging engineer's job is to make sure that all the boxes that we got it from the vendor, it's going to be fit with the machine that we have. Because like I said before, the 50% of the product that we produce is not our product, it's somebody else. So when we make a deal with them, it's basically they're the one who sent us all the packaging material. So they send us the packaging material and they're telling us this is going to be the packaging for the product. And we just need to make sure that packaging material, it's going to be fit with the existing equipment that we already have. So that is the packaging engineer. Most of the time, we're looking for a degree for this. There are some schools in United States, if I'm not mistaken, one of them is University of Michigan. They actually have the program, a degree in the packaging engineering, but it does not have to be packaging engineering. It can be any kind of engineering degree, as long as you have some kind of experience in the packaging material, you should be able to apply for this job. So this is again another entry level. This is the big one. This is what we call the engineering project manager. So the engineering project manager is manage a portfolio of the project with a high level of fiscal responsibility or technical complexity, typically involving large and or diverse project team. So the project manager usually have a lot of people working or reporting to him or her. The project engineer is usually the one that reported to the project manager. They also have a lot of supporting people, like the people who knows how to do the drawing, the CAD drawing, the people know how to do the electrical, the automation, the control, the mechanical, and all kind of stuff like that. So this is the big one, and they're usually the one who managing the project. We just invested, I say maybe $50 million at the Henderson facility. We just added 2 brand new lines, and 3 more comes in the next 1 or 2 years. So the project manager is usually the one who dealing with this big project. It's the big stuff. So they have overall responsibility for all technical, business, and administrative aspect of the assigned project. It looks like for this position, it requires certification, which is the project management professional certification. I'm not really familiar with this, but it seems like this is the one that people use when they want to be the project manager. Again, it requires between 7 to 10 years project engineering experience, and especially if that experience is related to the food manufacturing. Okay, the last one. So this one is a plant engineer. Most of the time, each site has one, a plant engineer. It really depends on the site. The one that we have it here in Henderson, the guy is like the connection between the site and the corporate related to the project, but also at the same time, because he knows a lot of things about the site, so he kind of like a part of the team when they design the equipment, to design the line and everything, because he has the knowledge for that one. It is again is like an entry level position because they get support a lot from the corporate. So this is some of the summary that I have regarding all this position. So most of the position that I show it to everybody is they are at the corporate level. So they're required to travel to the site. They're the one who've been deployed to the site when there's the project. Because keep in mind, you don't have a project all the time. Right now we are growing, so we have a lot of projects in many different sites. So we deploy all these engineers to the different sites to make sure they support the facility. Most positions require engineering degrees, but some of them can be substituted with experiences. As a matter of fact, sometimes we feel like if the person has a lot of experience and is related to us, and we actually will take them compared to the entry level engineers who does not have a lot of experience. So it's unfortunately. We do have some entry level position. We also, it's very common in United States, especially during the summertime, that the company actually have what we call like an intern position, because every department usually start screaming and crying, say we need help and support, and we got pretty good deal by actually hiring a engineering student and then help us a lot. I believe here in Henderson, they have at least 2 or 3 engineering students today helping different departments. So this is good for the engineering student and the company itself. So everybody get the benefit. For the engineering student is helping them to figure out whether this is what they want. Because sometimes after a while they say, I don't want to do this, and it seems this job is not what I'm looking for. And for the company also, it's pretty helpful because they have a lot of they get a lot of help. Because when I was working at the site, I used to have the intern also working for me during the summertime. Some position we're really looking forward to have people with the food manufacturing experience, because I think it's going to be helpful for us, but not really. If we can't get it, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And the last thing is, just want to make sure everybody aware that on top of your degree, when you apply for a job, sometimes there's a soft skill that they're looking for. And for Wells, we're looking for a task management, improvement focus, because the company wants to grow, professional knowledge and skills, obviously. Now, the service focus is because the people will deploy to different sites. So they have to have this set of mind that we're here to service other sites to help, and the strategic thinking, teamwork, because you don't work by yourself, you work with the team. You have to interact with everybody, which is sometimes a challenge for the engineers. They have to work with people. They have a hard time to do that. Communication skill is important. Influence, because you have to be able to influence people. Keep in mind, they don't work for you, they don't report it to you, but you have to influence them. Or leadership, and you have to have a drive and motivation. So that's pretty much that I have to share. So I don't know if I'm too fast or I'm too slow. So anybody have any question? Anything you want to ask?
Bagus banget kok. Nggak kecepatan ya. Thank you. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Fadil untuk info yang sangat berharga ini. Sebelum saya kasih kesempatan bertanya ke teman-teman, saya boleh ya tanya duluan. Ada beberapa pertanyaan. Kalau boleh balik dulu Pak ke tadi engineering student gitu ya. Di Amerika itu gimana minat lulusan SMA untuk masuk fakultas teknik? Apakah mereka seperti di Indonesia gitu ya, yang ya aku nggak ngerti juga sih untuk generasi muda sekarang. Cuman kan setauku ponakanku banyak yang masih minat ke fakultas teknik ya, walaupun anakku sendiri nggak minat gitu. Jadi kalau di Amerika gimana sih kira-kira?
Ya, anak saya juga nggak minat jadi insinyur, jadi bagus. Ya, nggak ada minatnya sama sekali, which is great. Di sini itu nggak kayak, aku mungkin salah ya. Kalau di Indonesia itu kan dulu zaman waktu aku kuliah, kayaknya kalau jadi insinyur dapat kerja tuh lebih gampang. Nggak tahu sekarang ya. Jadi kayaknya gimana gitu kalau insinyur itu.
Kayaknya kalau generasi kita dulu kan, wah teknik gitu ya, A1 itu mengidolakan ya. Cuman nggak ngerti juga aku. Mungkin ada teman-teman yang generasi muda ini nanti bisa kasih info ke kita ya. Sekarang ini gimana. Cuman kalau di keluargaku, ponakanku masih gitu, atau karena keluargaku aja atau gimana, nggak ngerti juga sih Tom. Jadi silakan. Kalau di Amerika gimana? Ya. Karena
kalau
industri negara Amerika kan dengan Hollywoodnya gitu ya, jadi tentu gimana tuh Tom? Tolong ceritain.
Di sini itu enggak seperti itu. Di sini tuh anak-anak itu enggak punya, anak-anak yang saya tahu ya, yang dealing sama saya atau teman anak perempuan saya, karena teman anak perempuan saya tuh teman anak perempuan saya. Ya, dia ada yang engineer, tapi ada yang juga enggak engineer. Jadi ada satu masuk teman baiknya, satu masuk teknik sipil, tapi ada yang enggak. Jadi mereka enggak ngelihat ke situ. Mereka tuh lebih ngelihat waktu mau ngambil kuliah, mereka mengambil kuliah berdasarkan apa yang mereka mau. Kayak anak saya kan,
apa? Sorry nggak kedengeran.
Berdasarkan apa yang mereka mau, apa yang mereka minat. Kayak anak perempuan saya itu enggak ada dari dia sama sekali minatnya untuk menjadi engineer. Dan dia nggak merasa dia harus jadi engineer. Jadi emang di sini nggak begitu, nggak ada pola pikirnya seperti itu.
Tapi mereka bisa tahu minatnya itu dari tahu profesinya dulu, atau dari misalnya oh saya suka gambar, oh saya suka nyanyi, oh saya suka teater, apa gimana? Gimana dia tahu minatnya?
Biasanya di sini tuh waktu SMA. Jadi di sini kan di SMA itu kan ada kanselernya kan. Apa kalau di Indonesia itu ya? Ada pembimbing ya.
Ya.
Jadi di SMA itu biasanya itu ada yang membantu. Kalau misalnya mereka bingung, mereka mau kemana. Tapi kadang-kadang mereka juga biasanya ada yang lihat orang lain, lihat temennya, jadi sama-sama ngobrol sama temennya atau orang tuanya atau keluarganya, ya bisa begitu. Tapi nggak banyak yang ini, dan banyak juga di sini sudah mau, misalnya contoh ya, ada anak teman saya itu dia teknik sipil, dia masuk teknik sipil. Pas dia kuliah 1 tahun dia bingung, terus dia bilang gini, aduh kayaknya saya nggak mau nih masuk teknik sipil. Cuman kalau di Amerika kan ganti jurusan tuh gampang kan, kita bisa loncat-loncat sampai kita puas gitu loh. Nggak perlu harus ngambil ujian lagi. Jadi ya pas dia kuliah terus dia lihat, wah saya nggak suka nih kayaknya, terus dia pindah. Jadi di sini biasa aja.
Jadi di sana ada nggak sih tes minat bakat gitu? Mereka terbiasa dengan itu?
Enggak.
Ya?
Mereka nggak terbiasa dengan itu. Mereka lebih ke arah kuliah itu either dibimbing sama orang tuanya, dikasih tahu sebaiknya yang mana, atau dipaksa sama orang tuanya supaya masuknya kemana, atau ya terserah mereka masuknya kemana. Di sini tuh seperti itu. Ada sih tesnya. Jadi kemarin anak saya yang nomor 2 itu kan setara dengan SMA kelas 2 kan sekarang. Sama ibunya disuruh ikut tes itu dia. Disuruh ikut tes itu supaya ngasih lihat kira-kira dianya strongnya di mana, kiranya baiknya di mana. Jadi kita suruh dia ikut tes itu. Tapi itu nggak common kok. Itu nggak.
Oh, oke. Ya. Nah, jadi kalau misalnya sudah melihat bahwa di universitas mereka dengan mudahnya memilih bidang yang mereka sukai, jadi aku prediksi lulusan engineer, lulusan fakultas teknik di Amerika itu akan bekerja di bidang engineering ya?
Most of the time, ya. Jadi kalau di Indonesia dulu kan kita mau jadi engineer, tapi nanti maunya kerja di bank kan?
Iya.
Mau kerjanya karena merasa, nggak tahu itu dulu ya, nggak tahu sekarang. Waktu zaman
masih data 2018 cuma 45% lulusan fakultas teknik kerja di engineering field.
Exactly. Jadi kalau saya dulu sama kan, masuk teknik sipil bukan mau jadi teknik sipil, gitu, pengen kerja di bank. Tapi kalau di Amerika nggak begitu. Mereka yang ngambil engineering degree itu benar-benar mau kerja di engineering degree, di field-nya engineering. Nah kalau dia nggak mau, dia nggak mau capek-capek sekolah di engineering school, terus selesai dari situ sudah dia bilang, nanti saya kerjanya, karena di sini pas meng-apply kerjaan misalnya di bank gitu, nggak kayak kita ngelihat, nggak kayak, oh saya yang mau pertama kali saya terima yang dari UI dulu, terus yang kedua dari dia lulusan teknik mesin, kalau yang satunya ini lulusan fakultas ekonomi, enggak deh, kita nggak di sini nggak begitu.
Jadi berdasarkan benar-benar pendidikannya ya, kerja berdasarkan.
Yes.
Dan itu menurut aku jadi benar-benar efektif. Maksudnya nggak mubazir ya, sekolah susah-susah gitu kan.
Yep. Karena biasanya kalau udah sekolah di fakultas di engineering school itu beda kok. Di sini kelihatan banget anak-anaknya itu nggak sama waktu kayak kita.
Gimana tuh? Nggak samanya gimana jadi kepo nih?
Kayaknya lebih ini ya, mereka lebih fokus. Mereka tuh lebih fokus, terus mereka tuh kayak apa ya namanya itu, ada aktivitasnya yang ada research-nya, ada project-nya. Jadi benar-benar waktu kuliah di engineering school tuh emang I wanna be engineers gitu.
Jadi bisa dibilang nggak begitu dia lulus kuliah dia siap kerja?
Well, that's another problem. Nggak bisa
Oh,
bilang
oke.
begitu.
Oh, oke. Kirain bisa gitu.
No.
Oh, oke,
Iya,
oke.
tapi biasanya kalau perusahaan besar itu mereka punya program. Jadi mereka punya program, mereka merekrut yang lulus, dan itu mereka ada program yang membantu anak-anak itu untuk belajar cepat di pekerjaannya. Itu ada. Kalau dibilang langsung bisa kerja, ya tergantung relatif ya. Maksudnya kerja apa? Ya, tetap aja dianggap entry level, mesti tetap harus belajar lagi.
Jadi program khusus itu kira-kira berapa bulan?
Tergantung. Tiap perusahaan beda-beda. Tergantung.
Bisa sampai 1 tahun?
Tergantung. Semakin besar perusahaannya, karena biasanya perusahaan besar itu mereka sadar dengan mereka membina anak-anak yang baru lulus ini, mereka invest waktunya, time-nya, itu sebenarnya yang akan bermanfaat untuk mereka sendiri. Tapi itu biasanya perusahaan. Ya, dalam long term-nya itu benefit-nya untuk mereka.
Rendah gitu.
Exactly. Iya, karena kan itu tujuannya. Tapi kalau perusahaan kecil ya nggak bisa, nggak bisa seperti itu.
Oke. Terus ini tadi tentang automation engineer ya. Di situ kalau nggak salah Pak Fardin bilang bahwa dia nggak harus engineer, dia bisa associate degree. Jadi sorry, bisa tolong dijelaskan apa sih associate degree ini?
Di Indonesia ada nggak ya associate degree? D3, yes.
D3.
Ya, associate degree itu D3. Ya, associate degree D3.
Terus, sorry ya, aku baca catatannya. Tadi kalau dibilang Wells itu 50% do production untuk other companies ya. Jadi kayak maklun, kalau di Indonesia itu istilahnya maklun.
Maklun?
Ya, yang katanya kamu production 50% production itu bukan produknya Wells kan?
Ya.
Tapi itu produk food and beverage.
Produknya ice cream.
Sorry. Oh, ice cream.
Ya.
Oh, oke.
Karena Wells kan ice cream company.
Oh, oke. Jadi sama ya maksudnya. Jadi mesinnya sama itu ya. Gimana sih kalau aku boleh tahu gimana ngaturnya, apakah produk sendiri sama yang itu gimana ngaturnya itu?
Jadi kan kita kalau bikin produk itu kan nggak campur. Jadi tiap production lines itu dedicated untuk produk tersendiri.
Satu produk, satu line.
Ya, jadi tapi dalam satu line bisa bikin lebih dari satu produk. Bisa, cuman kalau bikin ice cream itu, kalau kita ganti produk, itu mesti mesin sama prosesnya itu mesti dibersihin selama 8 jam. Jadi supaya bersih, completely bersih, 8 jam, terus baru kita bisa bikin produk baru lagi. Biasanya satu line itu bisa dipakai untuk produk yang beda-beda, tapi jenisnya sama. Contohnya gini, ice cream itu kan ada yang pakai stick kan, apa namanya kalau di Indonesia ice cream pakai stick itu. Terus ada lagi yang pakai cone kan, ada lagi yang pakai sandwich kan, ada lagi yang di dalam di dalam cup gitu kan. Nah itu tiap line itu teknologinya berdasarkan itu. Jadi kalau mesin itu dedicated untuk bikin cone, itu akan bikin cone terus. Nggak bisa bikin sandwich. Nggak bisa bikin ice cream sama stick. Tapi pas kita bikin cone, kita bisa bikin cone untuk different products.
Jadi kalau aku nangkepnya, karena investasi mesin itu besar, dan jadi lebih baik daripada idle capacity kita terima subcon, kita terima pesanan produksi dari kompetitor dong, boleh dibilang kan?
Ya. Kita itu bukan karena itu.
Oh,
Itulah
jadi gimana alasannya?
modus bisnis dari Wells adalah kita bikin produk kita sendiri dan kita bikin produk untuk orang lain. Itu memang modelnya kita.
Model
Jadi kita
begitu.
bukan ya model bisnisnya itu. Jadi kalau misalnya di kemudian hari kita bisa orang banyak minta bikin nama kita lebih banyak, kita bisa bikinin aja. Ini malah kemarin waktu COVID, kita itu sempat tidak bisa menghasilkan ice cream untuk orang karena banyak yang tidak bisa kerja karena COVID.
Oh, gitu ya. Jadi
Karena pas kondisi COVID kemarin kan banyak orang di rumah.
Iya.
Pas orang di rumah maunya apa? Makan es krim. Jadi kita demand untuk bikinnya banyak sempat di suatu waktu, tapi kita nggak ada kapasitas untuk memproduksi itu.
Jadi model bisnisnya mungkin karena core kompetensinya adalah bikin ice cream, gitu ya?
Ya.
Dan investasi. Oke. Terima kasih.
Ya.